We developed a forgiveness training based on 4 very simple trainable skills. Become more grateful. Practice that religiously, relentlessly. Open your heart all the time to what you have so you recognize what the open heart is. That's a central practice of forgiveness, because the opposite is what we do, which is the world didn't give me enough, therefore I'm entitled to complain. You want to focus on the fact that the world did give you enough and there's nothing to complain about, to balance that out. Second, it's a stress management approach that you have to calm down your nervous system. You just have to do that. Otherwise, the stress chemicals are going to cause your thinking to become very limited and very narrow and very hostile. So if you don't manage the stress of the unforgiveness, it's very hard to get past it. Third, and Lyndon alluded to this, and when I talked to Marilyn the other day, both of them were struck by the simplicity and the necessity of changing that story you tell, and how many people are just attached to a story that paints them as helpless victims of something unpleasant. That story is probably the worst thing that we do to ourselves, not the events that happen to us. That a story of helplessness creates a helpless immune system, creates nervous system dysregulation, creates all sorts of patterns in the brain for thinking. That's just what happens. When you change the story to something else, you give your body different pathways to function, and then you give your mind different pathways to open to. That's in itself a very simple trainable skill. And last, we teach certain arguments, very simple arguments about whether or not the world owed you anything different. Like, prove that you really there was an error and you didn't deserve the mother you got. I mean, prove that. And so these simple skills are trainable, but I would have to say that I still don't know actually how to teach forgiveness. I can teach these skills, and they tend to make people more available to forgiveness, but there's still something ethereal or consciousness or spiritual or grace or something that still has to fill that human space beyond just those skills. And I don't fully know what that is.
And forgiveness is a trainable life skill.
Yeah.
It's one that we need to do a lot of work to re-educate people about its power and the definition of forgiveness and what it means and what it doesn't mean. It's a trainable life skill.
I teach forgiveness, and in the same way that Lyndon, I think, feels, unfortunately, in order to teach it or advocate it, you have to learn how to do it. And that's tough. And I'm struck by often how much resistance there is to people taking that challenge personally, really personally, and doing what they can to make their little piece of this planet like a hate-free zone. And you would be surprised at how rare that is. And it's a little shocking to me how hard that is for people to grasp. That forgiveness means that opening my heart means I can't hate George Bush. Or forgiveness means, and opening my heart means, I can't condemn my mother for 12 years because she failed as my parent. And I can't condemn my lover because they didn't love me right. It means the most basic and simple renunciation of hostility here and here. It almost doesn't matter what we believe in, and it has no meaning how we get there. I mean, you can call yourself a Christian, or you can call yourself a Jewish person, or you can call yourself anything. For each of us, our contribution to this world is our presence and the way we comport ourselves. And the thing that trips most of us up on this planet is how painful this planet is and how easy it is to want to strike back at the people who caused us pain. And how that's a very, very central choice for what our legacy is. You know, how did you respond to the unkindness that was sent your way? I mean, I meet people at all ages who are still defending, like, their malevolence or their lack of grace or their inability to keep their heart open. I meet people who tell me 10, 15, 20, 30 years later that it still makes sense to them to say nasty things about other human beings. And I'm truly astonished by that. I'm astonished by it in the sense that most of us fail to deeply embrace our mortality, so we think we have forever to spew this stuff out. You know, that either there's no accounting or there's not this profound temporal, like, power that no matter what has happened to us, no matter when it's happened to us, we're done soon.